So we are so pleased tonight to have back with us Shivani Hawkins, who was also one of the speakers at our prayer breakfast earlier this year. And we're thrilled to have her join us again. Shivani is a meditation teacher and artist born into a traditional yoga path. She's the founder of Living Sanskrit, a school for indigenous yogic wisdom and practices, as well as the Center for Natural Mind, modern contemplative practice space. She's been teaching meditation since 2001, has a JD from the University of Southern California, and a BA from the University of California, Berkeley. She lives in Freestone, California with her husband and baby daughter, and it's our real joy to welcome Shivani with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Scott. I'm so happy to be back with you all again. I had such a blast at the prayer breakfast. I think I was high as a kite for like 2 days afterwards, in a good way, spiritually grounded, high as a kite. But it's always, I think, it's incredible, as Scott was saying earlier, that we are able to still meet despite everything. I don't think there's any replacement for practicing together. And I'm very, very thankful that we have this way to practice together when we can't be physically together. So for those of you that were here in the beginning when we were just chilling, I was sharing a little bit about what's been going on in my life and also what led to picking this theme, for today's meditation. Life brings every kind of flavor to it, right? There's going to be highs and lows and whatever, but I think we can all agree that 2020 has been, no matter who you are, no matter where you are, intense, right? Raise your hands if it has been intense for you. Yes, it has been intense. Like even the good things have been intense. Everything has been so heightened, so dramatic, so taxing. And of course, there also has been great sorrow, great loss, incredible pressure and tension and uncertainty. And this is, I can't think of another time in human history when the entire planet was having a shared human experience like this. Like I literally don't think every single person in every single country having this intense of a single shared human experience. That's incredibly powerful. It's also intense. And Mother Nature has her daily cycles of the sun rises and sets, and we have these routines, and then we do have storms and thunderstorms and volcanic eruptions, and there are times where things are intense. It's not really normal for things to be so intense for so long. You can't have a volcanic eruption every single day, and at some point that's going to fry your system. Whatever you understand as your system, as a human being, as a living part of this universe, it's a lot. I know many people I've spoken to are sharing that they're feeling depleted, they're tired. And many people the fact that you are here tells me, we titled this Staying Resilient in Trying Times. The fact that you are here today tells me you are already resilient. You're already here. You're already showing up. You are already getting back up again the next day and the next day and the next day. So please acknowledge, we're 8 months into this pandemic, I believe. Just acknowledge how much courage you have already demonstrated to be at this point today, saying, you know what, I'm going to show up for my meditation practice one more time. I'm willing to learn something one more time. That ability to keep getting back up, I think, is at the heart of what it means to be a spiritual warrior or a spiritual practitioner, or simply someone who loves God. However you understand God, to reconnect again and again with the source of life. And to be that vehicle where the source of life can renew itself inside you again and again. And so my goal for today's meditation is just to very briefly touch upon some of the teachings and wisdom from my tradition around resilience in a very general way, and then we'll go into our meditation, and hopefully you can bring some of that with you, and we can discuss afterwards. Okay, so I also want to point out, like, not only are you already resilient, and we are here today, almost all of us, without access to the things we usually turn to for comfort. Most of us haven't had hugs from our friends and family. We haven't even seen our friends and family. We haven't traveled. We haven't gone on vacations. Many of us don't even get to go to the office to work. I mean, there's so many things that we would normally turn to help us renew and rejuvenate, you know, going on spiritual retreat or whatever it is for you. Again, I want to reiterate, you would not be here today if you were not already resilient. And so our only task, our adventure, is how do we continue to honor that and deepen and recognize consciously what it is that has brought us to this point where we're still here, we're still smiling, right? And even if you're not still smiling, I want to say that's okay. If you need to have a meltdown and cry, that's part of being resilient. It's part of how the body renews itself. So no worries. I am definitely not a everything is love and light, because without darkness and pain, we wouldn't recognize love and light. That's part of that. Okay. So so I come from a yoga tradition, which is, you know, the mystical heart of the Hindu tradition. And one of the things, there's many different understandings of resilience and where we draw energy from. I would say and I'm going to use English non-yoga jargon here. So this is me sort of translating the teachings into English rather than giving you exact quotes and things like that into conversational English. But the very first thing that we need to understand is reality is, right? Truth is. Whatever our subjective, meaning our personal experiences, it just is. And the first way to stop to have access to energy is to accept reality, which means whatever is going on with you personally, whatever is going on in the world around you, whatever is happening with other beings around you, aligning with what is true, right? So as we sit for meditation, we can't fantasize and go somewhere else. We can't visualize and go somewhere else. The starting point actually is what is happening with me, what is happening with the world. And as soon as we do that, again, the energy of truth is the energy of life. It's the energy of God. So the more we connect with the energy of truth in whatever form it is, even if it's, I'm so, you know, damn sick of this pandemic, or I'm so sick of whatever, you know, or I feel like poop or whatever it is, that little articulation of truth will actually give you energy. Has anyone found that? That as soon as you say something truthful, suddenly there's energy? That's part of that resilience. The other piece, of course, and this is at the heart of most yogic practices, is the conservation of energy. Not leaking energy, but being very mindful about where and how we put our energy, whether it's physical, whether it's mental, whether it's emotional. So when you have thoughts and feelings that stir up a lot of agitation, watching them without getting sucked into them, because it's exhausting, right? Eating food that actually gives us energy rather than something that temporarily fills us up, like sugar, which I love, but leaves us emptier in the end, right? So the entire body of yoga is looking at these conserving energy, because when we conserve energy, we have that storehouse necessary to get through trying times. We don't fall apart. And I want to talk a little bit more about specifics after meditation, because otherwise your mind's the point of this is not to get our mind all activated. The other piece around it is this very deep idea of rest in the tradition, and all the different forms that rest can take. Rest can be as simple as letting the body rest, right? So when we sit comfortably, so we're not straining or we're not pushing. We allow the breath to flow, so there's no forcing, so that we're getting the energy we need. We allow the mind to gently flow as it's flowing, but to slowly start bringing the mind and the flow of thoughts and emotions to rest. In the tradition, there's a word called shram. The root shram actually means it's the collected exhaustion of being. And so the word ashram, which you may have heard, which is our name for retreat sites, is the place that takes you away from that. So even though we can't go to a physical ashram where we would go and meditate, you can kind of create that here, to take a break from the stuff of the world. Just from being itself, worldliness itself is exhausting. And what I mean by worldliness is being in the world, right? Doing all your things, doing all your tasks, being in all your relationships, thinking all your thoughts, all of that is exhausting. And it creates this kind of crud, or a layer, you could say, around our hearts, which are just being. Children don't have this, of course, because there's no story attached. But those, as you get older, you start to kind of build these little, it's kind of like, when you have hard water and it just creates a layer of film, little mineral deposits one at a time, and suddenly your glass looks dirty, even though it's not dirty, it's just stuff. So meditation practice is creating that, wiping that exhaustion away, because we don't do. We just are. It allows that deep, deep, deep soul rest that needs to take place. And the last piece I want to kind of leave you with is, second to last, is it's the same principle as digestion, right? When you digest, you can't do anything. You have to just stop and let it happen, right? If you keep trying to stuff things into you to try to digest, you'll actually slow down the digestion process. So for today's meditation, I encourage you to, if you have a technique that you love, that's great. To whatever extent it's possible, just give yourself space for rest and digestion and being and breathing. Be in the gentleness of being. Pure being itself is transcendent. It's like the sky. It doesn't have mass. It doesn't have weight. And in that place of alignment, of resting, of conserving our energy, there's also the magic of surrender, where we just flow with the energy that is bigger than us, from which we emerge. And so as you sit, let meditation happen through you, instead of trying to do. Because like I said, you already are resilient. You don't need to try to find resilience. You just need space for that living energy in you to breathe and to move and to replenish itself. Okay, so I don't think, 100% positive you all already know all of this. It's just a gentle reminder. Nothing is new, I am sure. And it's good, because we don't need everything to be new, because that adds to the exhaustion. So all right, so take a comfortable meditation posture. And Scott, is there anything else I need to add?
No.
Okay, perfect. Take a comfortable meditation posture. Sorry, I'm sitting in my chair and it's a little low, but it's okay. So if you are sitting in a chair, you can put your feet flat on the ground, or if you're folded legs, go ahead and close your eyes. And as you do so, make the connection with the earth, with your feet and your foundation. Really feel that ground. Feel that steadiness. And then gently rock back and forth and side to side. And there's again there's a place where your spine is really aligned. Like it's not carrying weight forward or backwards, it's not tilted to one side or another. It's just balanced on the pelvis. So find that place, like a pendulum settling in. And the same thing with your head. Find the place where the head is just gently balanced on the spine. There's no weight. You're not pushing forward or back. Take a breath in and let the spine and the head float upwards. Breathe out long. Make the connection to the sky. So feel the ground, feel the sky. Let your arms float down, face down on your thighs or gently folded in your lap. Release your shoulders down. Let your face be soft. Let your jaw be soft. Let meditation be gentle, nourishing. This is your time to rest, to be. Whatever thought you have, whatever feeling is arising, hold it very gently and with great space. All the intensity of everything. Now is your time to make some space. Let your attention be like velvet. So soft. So tender. Let there be warmth and light in your being. And as we meditate, notice whenever anything starts to feel very heavy or agitated or intense, just come back to the stillness, the softness, the spaciousness. Not everything has to be intense. And even the intensity can be held with gentleness. If you find yourself commenting on how you think you're doing, hold even that with softness, with rest. Like a warm blanket, just be. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Letting your mind stay at rest. Keeping your eyes closed, you can gently start to sway your body. Just gently introducing movement. Keeping the eyes closed and the attention inwards. And again, take a deep breath in and a long breath out. Bring your hands up to gently cover your eyes and let them open and adjust to the light at their own pace. So take your time. Very, very slowly. And if it's too intense, close your eyes again. And then with the eyes open, let them fall to a specific point. And again, if it's too intense, close your eyes again. And with the eyes gently resting on a specific point in front of you, slowly start to take in, expand your visual field. So you're not rushing to have everything fill your awareness. Just gently expanding the perceptual field. And then very slowly start to move your eyes around the room. Again, taking everything in slowly, gently. And if it feels like too much, close your eyes again. How we come out of meditation is probably at least as important, if not more important, than how we get into it. Because the transition from our practice to our outer space is going to affect where we take our practice into the rest of our life. So I really encourage you, however you find your way into meditation, when you are coming out of meditation, this is your opportunity to be really clear about what you want to let in, how quickly you want to let it in. We can't always control the intensity of life and what we have to experience, but we can create a space for ourselves that is safe and nourishing and restful and gentle. And that is in our hands. And the more we can sort of antidote the intensity with these gentle spaces inside of ourselves, you'll find that wellspring of resilience is just always kind of there, you know. It's almost like, you know, when you go skiing, when you first learn to ski, everyone's terrified going down the mountain until you realize the first thing they teach you is how to stop. And once you realize, like, oh, I can stop, it's safe again, you know. Even if you still don't know the rest of anything else, you can stop. And I feel like that's so much of what we have with meditation practice is like, no matter what is going on, and there is so much happening, we can stop, we can close our eyes, we can take a breath, we can remember the divine, remember the truth. And all of those things have, I say God, but source energy in it, right? God's energy in it. And God's energy is the source of life. That's where our ability to get back up comes from. And if on a given day you can't meditate, turn to any practice that connects you to the source of life. I always kind of tell people, like, this is the interfaith community here. I think the whole point of faith, right, is giving you a means to get back up again. Isn't that like at the heart of what brings people to spiritual life? Like, no matter what happens in life, getting back up again, and not just getting back up again, but getting back up again in a good way, in a way that is joyful and meaningful and compassionate and beautiful. So yeah, thank you so much for meditating with me. That was so rich for me personally, because I haven't had a chance to practice very much, as much as I historically have, both as a new mom and a pandemic and all that stuff. So thank you very much. I'm very grateful. And Scott, I think it's back to you, unless I'm not sure what happens next.